We're a little over halfway through training camp so far as we head towards the Patriots game on Saturday, and I wanted to give you 5 predictions of things that'll happen before the end of training camp. First, I think the Packers are going to keep more safeties on the active roster than cornerbacks. Some of that comes down to the versatility that these safeties have from a special teams perspective, but also some of that being, Anthony Johnson Jr. or, Darnell Savage, guys who have some reps playing in the slot previously. Granted, Anthony Johnson Jr. was at the college level as he was a former cornerback, and Darnell Savage has done that to some varying degrees of success with the Packers in the past. So I think some of that versatility and, the development of, like an Anthony Johnson Jr. or even like a Tarvarius Moore, who I think might be a dark horse to start opposite Savage, is something that the Packers are going to want to hold on to, and they'll move on from some of those non-outside boundary corners in the cornerback room, potentially like a Corey Ballentine and a Shamar Jean-Charles, for instance. Next up, the Patriots game is just around the corner here. I think maybe not immediately, but Sunday or Monday, the Packers are going to move on from Royce Newman. Just a matter of he's been trending in the wrong direction with the Packers, specifically over the last couple years, but this training camp in particular, he's worked his way from the second team unit down to the third team, playing late into the fourth quarter, and just having a lot of mistake-ridden tape out there. Missed assignments, penalties, all kinds of different things. A lot of things that are working against Royce Newman. The Packers generally have enough tape and experience with Royce Newman to know what he is, and I think they're going to want to bring somebody fresh in for this last week of camp to see, kind of kick the tires on a prospect to see whether it's somebody that they would want to, keep around for the practice squad heading into the year. Just somebody that's got a little bit more upside potentially than what they already know about Royce Newman. Third, I think the punter job is going to be Dan Whelan's. Pat O'Donnell, steady, reliable kicker, and any other year I would probably say it's still his job. But given that this year is a bit of a transition year, I think they want to keep around some of the developmental type guys rather than rolling with somebody that doesn't have quite as high of a ceiling, but is a more reliable piece. I think they're going to accept the same kind of way that they do with, Anders Carlson, accept some, accident forgiveness along the way. Mistakes will be made, but that guy has got a powerful leg. And so far in camp, he's punted particularly well. So I think as we see him get a little bit more of an opportunity to punt in game action over the last couple preseason games, I think we're going to see that he is actually the Packers punter heading into the year, and hopefully the Packers punter of the future. Back onto the offensive side, I think the Packers are going to keep 7 wide receivers. 5 of them I think are effectively a lock. That's Watson, Dobbs, Reed, Toure, and Wicks. Those 5 are in. I think Malik Heath is number 6. He's done an outstanding job. He's been steady and reliable through camp, kind of stacking some of his successes, and he's flashed at times. And then in particular this past preseason game against the Bengals, he showed that he's a willing blocker, and he was out there kind of aiming for that goon role that Allen Lazard played for the Packers the last several years. So keeping a guy like that around, I think, is something the Packers are going to do. And then number 7, I think they're going to keep, Grant Dubose. The upside for him is there. He's already started to show some flashes since he's come back from the injury. He just needs the opportunity to stay healthy and perform. And I think he's going to do that over the last couple preseason games to earn his spot on this 53. And I kind of alluded to this a little bit with the receivers, but I think the Packers are going to keep 3 UDFAs on the active roster this year, which is definitely a high number for any NFL team, even the Packers, who traditionally give their guys a better opportunity as UDFAs to make the roster. So I think that's going to be Malik Heath, as I alluded to with the receivers. I think Brenton Cox is a guy that you can't afford to, risk hitting waivers because he's performed outstandingly and he's got a pedigree, albeit with some baggage, that, you can't ignore. Somebody would pick him up. So I think the Packers are going to keep him on the active roster. And then lastly, as I kind of talked about in a tight end video earlier this week, I think they're going to keep Hank Pearson as a fullback. It's kind of a position we've gotten away from in the last several years, but he's looked pretty good as a run blocker. He's got a little bit of versatility as he, was a former tight end in college, but that also gives us the opportunity to flex DeGuara back to a tight end position should we need to, given the, deteriorating depth of the tight end position after Tyler Davis went down with an ACL. Let me know in the comments what you think of these predictions, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.